All right, part two. Because when people see a video that's over an hour long, they go, "Oh my god, I can't devote to that." Even though YouTube will save where you left off and you could go back to it the next day. So I'll cut this in two. All right, buy the effing dip. The reward doesn't justify the risk. I'll talk about that when I go over charts. So, everyone is telling Orange Man to not reopen. If he doesn't reopen, I mean, there will be no economy to go back to, and more people may perish in the long term if everyone is, like what. I, I'm telling you, I don't know what world they're living in because you cannot keep this going much longer. Every day that goes by, another business is going to go under. Even if they print, I mean, it's not going to return to normal. I'm telling you, they're evil. If you look at my screen, you know what I'm talking about. What else? 30% of Americans say Nano Zombie was made in a lab because it was. They're catching on. The masses are finally catching on. So, for years, guys, I've been telling you to hold off on buying a new car or a lightly used car, even a home. And I haven't bought a new vehicle, so for this reason, I've been holding off, and I'm holding off even a little longer now, even though my car is literally dying. Um, Unpleasant truth: used auto market on verge of collapse that could cost companies billions. So the automakers are in deep, deep, deep crap. They have been, financing everyone with a pulse again, like 72-month uh, uh, payments, loans for new cars. And the only way dealerships have been making money is selling you new cars on finance, not used cars. Well, guess what? These asses. Uh, Now they're not going to sell any cars because no one's going to go out and buy a new car. And all the used cars that have flooded the market, there's like 4 cars to one American, are just going to tank in price. And you would be in, and everyone is going to default on their new cars. So there's going to be a glut of new cars, an enormous glut of used cars and lightly used cars, and there's no reason to even make new cars anymore, probably for many years, because there's so many cars, and people are going to resort to fixing their cars instead of buying a new one every couple of years or 4 years. It's like the American way. Dear God, I can't get caught driving a older car. Idiots. Anyways, by the way, all the millionaires I've met, yeah, some of them have some really awesome cars, but in the beginning, when they were becoming rich, they drove cars into the ground and bought old cars, used cars. Same with me. I've never bought a new car. You lose like 6 grand as soon as you drive it off a lot. I might buy a new car now though because they're not going to be able to sell them, and I'm just going to take advantage of them because I know they need to keep the lights on at the dealerships. So I'll go in there and I'll get a new car 40% off in a few months. That's what I'm hoping. Or still, I'll probably just buy a new car with like 10,000 miles. Yeah. All right, where are we? I'll talk about the oil market later. Junk bond ETF shorts hit an all-time high despite Fed backstop. So, there's corporate bonds, there's treasury bonds. The bond vigilantes are waking up in droves. And the bond vigilantes are just people selling their bonds out of panic and fear, and also people shorting bonds. So, or corporate bonds. And I don't And the Fed will do whatever it has to stop the bond vigilantes. Because if rates spike, the pitchforks and torches are coming out. They would rather have stagflation and very high inflation than a 1930s Great Depression, but it would be much worse than that. That'd look like a picnic. And that's why I'm guaranteeing, that's why I'm so adamant, and I'm in full belief that metals have to go higher. And they will, and they have been. And I have been right. I've been right this entire time. I'm not being cocky, I'm just... No one gives me... Like, no one else calls me to do interviews on their channels, this and that. That's because I've been calling it right. Like, I'm not saying I'm the best, but I don't know, I've been killing it. I'm not always right, though. I didn't see... You know, I admit when I'm wrong. I don't see anyone else ever admit when they're wrong. Alright. And I have the balls to do that because I'm right more than I am wrong. Like, I'm probably right like 80%, 90%, so. So, the airlines, they have to keep them in business. A lot of them also create, it's part of the military industrial. And they're just going to bail them out, which is stupid. They shouldn't, but you have to understand. If they don't bail them out, they will go bankrupt, but we're still going to have planes. It's going to be all right. Matter of fact, more people keep their jobs if they're not bailed out, because then they sell the company pennies on a dollar to other more responsible people who have savings and saw all this coming, who will buy these companies and be more responsible. Yes, they may lay off and trim some of the employees and the staff, but then they might hire them back later when they get the company back up and running properly, instead of CEOs taking on unnecessary debt and buying back their corporate bonds and stocks so they get higher bonuses so they could fly away in their golden parachutes. That's crony capitalism, by the way. And they lobby, the government to get bailouts. 80% of Americans will wait to resume normal activities after nano-zombie restrictions. Yeah, the low-hanging fruit are shorts list in the private group. A lot of them have made us a lot of money, but there's still way more. There's more opportunities, guys. And honestly, I think that they're coming up possibly this week. So go to my website before it's too late. Also, these mining stocks and gold, there might be a dip coming now, but it's probably the last. So, World War. Historically, when we have global depressions, those follow. They do, historically. Because you need an scapegoat. You need to get everyone's focus on a common enemy. Because if not, then they go after the leaders who put us in this mess. So, the Fed printed $2.3 trillion last week. It's just another stimulus package. They're going to do more. They're going to start doing stock. They're probably going to start buying stocks if the market continues to fall. So, that's pretty much all I have on that. That was last Thursday, the day after I made my last video. Besides part 1 to this video. That Navy ship with the huge red crosses on it, it's infected now. And I saw that coming. I was talking about it in the private group. I'm like, guys, by the way, all of the military ships are just going down one after another because they're all getting infected because they're floating petri dishes because they're closed quarters, right? Environment. And I'm worried about this. Social distancing becomes a new normal. This lockdown. My life doesn't change, but everyone else's, or a lot of people's. And that's because I have the peppers. I get them. And it's because I have another business and I am an essential. I am very essential, guys. um, and where was I going with this? I don't want this. I don't want to say certain words, but I don't want this pretty much null and void of our constitutional rights to be the new normal. And if the masses don't speak up against all this, we need our rights. And like I said, there's a very, very simple solution to all this, and that's everyone wears a mask. That's all it is, guys. It's all not a big deal. Not a big deal. But who am I? I'm nobody. Imagine if I wasn't Chateau banned and my channel was allowed to grow to millions. And I could change the world. You know, one person, a lot of people feel despair and they think, oh, there's nothing we could do. Guys, this shit could end like tomorrow. All it takes is everyone just to do something real quick. Or just to say no. Or actually, if I could go in front of everyone in the world, or at least 10% or 5%, and speak the truth for 30 seconds. I've thought of this plenty of times. I have something I could say that would literally free the world. Just like that. Just like that. But I don't, of course I'm not going to get that opportunity. Matter of fact, I shouldn't have said I could do that. By the way, all the people, right, who are, let's say, part of the control structure, they might be doing it for self-preservation. They're on the chopping block as well. As automation comes more prevalent, and they're making robots, guys, like walking, talking, they're gonna get there'll be no longer a use for them as well. There's nobody is safe in this world. Nobody. And there is like a spiritual aspect, the universe. I mean, you could even see the people at the highest levels get what they deserve, okay? And this life is so short. It's very short. And, you know, people who sell out, you're on the chopping block as well. And I want to put that out there. Like, you're not special. You're not going to be saved. It's not really a good life-preserving decision. All right. Let's get into some charts. How long is this video? It's only 13 minutes. All right. VIX is down. Dow and the S&P are doing their bull trap that I talked about weeks ago. I literally caught the bottom on this. You could have gone long and made a lot of money if you listen to me. Not that this is financial advice. I'm just saying I give you guys ideas and then you act on it based on other research. It helps you make your own decisions for yourself, or helps you bring it up to your financial advisor. And I'm not always going to be right. That's impossible. Okay. Let's talk about the dollar. The dollar. The DXY. The DXY is the dollar versus other fiat currencies. It doesn't measure inflation. And people can't understand that. I think it's peaked out now. But I told you it's probably going to trade within a range. And I don't have that chart up. But in a range anywhere from like 101 to 96 handle. Or even lower. 94 handle. And it might just trade in here for a long time, another year, who knows. I hope it trades sideways the longest humanly possible, because my gold stocks are going to go higher, and but I will still have purchasing power, and I could buy things like a castle or something. I don't know. Like a car, right? So, or also, I believe food prices are going to go up because of shortages in the supply chain and other things, maybe even utilities. But big ticket items that have been inflated for many decades now, that the boomers have been enjoying all so much, way too much, like home prices, car prices, RVs, quad four wheelers, motorcycles, the big toys, the toys that we all like, and boats, um, stuff like that. Uh, machines. If you want to get a CNC mill or a welding rig or a trailer. Uh, what else? A wood chipper. You could probably buy a horse at a discount. Anyways, farm animals. I mean, I plan on getting a couple goats and some chickens. But nothing too crazy, right? I don't have time. Um, anyways, where am I going with this? So the milkshake theory again. Schiff brought up a good point. I believe it was him. Other countries are going to have to sell their bonds and treasuries and their dollar holdings to make their companies whole again and bail everyone out. And that could drop the dollar. At the same time, what else? There is demand for it. There's sovereign wealth funds, right? Who demand dollars. And those are like for retirements, for foreign countries, for their populace, but they go on the currency exchanges. There's so many dollars floating around the world, and it's become the world reserve currency, that the Fed is stuck in this doom loop where it now has to bail out not just everything in the United States. And what I mean by everything, I mean everything. But they sort of have to bail out the world because everyone transacts in dollars and the debt is dollar denominated. So I don't know how this is going to end, but they're going to print so much that no one's going to believe it. And it's just all bullish for metals. That's really all I have to say, guys. At some point, yeah, I mean, right now we're going to go into the deflationary part, except for homes and big ticket items and cars. And there will be stagflation probably sooner than we think, like summer, when the economy comes off the lockdown, right? When money velocity turns up. So money velocity is money turning hands. And every time money turns hands, it creates more money. Because people could lend it out to each other or buy something, and then a company takes out more loans, and then the bank takes out more loans, whatnot. So money velocity all of a sudden is going to pick up, like once the lockdowns are taken off globally. And it's going to be, random. It's going to be different. Other places will be locked down longer than others and whatever. But when when they've all been, everyone's released back into freedom and to the wild, velocity is going to pick up in a really big way. And then you're going to start seeing serious stagflation for utilities, for goods and services, and goods is food. But will we have hyperinflation? Not yet. So it'll be a stagflationary environment for probably a while. I'm thinking, and this is as of today. I could change my mind later. And then later, after who knows, tens of trillions printed, and essentially what happens is the bond market just blows up. because at some given point, people are going to question, because this is all a confidence game. They're going to question, I mean, all the debt that's accumulated, right? On every level. And you can inflate it away, and that's what they're going to do. But once they've inflated the debt away, including student loans and all of it, right? The only thing left is fewer goods and money chasing it, because in a stagflationary environment, you can't grow the economy. You can't have more businesses. We're still going to have small businesses going out of business. There is no return to normal. And the real economy is going to deteriorate under all of this stagflation. And what ends up happening is less goods will be created globally. And when there's less goods, but they keep printing, you're just going to have more paper chasing less goods and assets. And that's when the final end stage comes, all right? So where am I at? I'm at 21 minutes. Gold to silver ratio is still high, way more upside on silver, except it's lagging. And, you know, it's going to lag, and it'll lag behind gold for a while. Here's all global currencies versus gold. They're all hitting all-time highs except the dollar. So let me show you guys something again. Some of this might be repetitive for you guys, but it's good to remind, you know, yourself. I don't want to be repetitive, but there are new people who do manage to somehow find my channel. This is the dollar. We haven't hit all-time highs, but we're very close to it now. And like I said, this is turning into a FOMO type market where the price going up is feeding upon itself, and more people are catching notice, speculators, and this is globally, and they're buying and buying more and more. By the way, Canada made miners, gold and silver mining companies, essential, and I guarantee you the U.S. will as well. Well, the U.S. is starting to come off a lockdown, and then this will happen globally because they're going to need the metals, right? The countries themselves, and they are large parts of certain countries' industry, like Mexico and Canada, which I look at those mining companies the most. Alright, the 10-year treasury yield, it's still down here. Everything's okay, hunky-dory. It's when it comes up to here is when SHTF happens. Here's S&P 500. I still think there's a little more upside the rest of this week, although it's extremely overextended and a pullback or correction is overdue. And I feel like when the S&P and the Dow Jones and all of them start correcting again, what will happen is the Fed's going to announce another stimulus. They'll announce that they're going to buy stocks, something, or the lockdown being lifted might actually push the markets a bit higher, because everyone's going to be like, all right, it's return to normal. I mean, that's what everyone's going to think, but, you know, not quite. Here's the S&P. It is on an 8 count on the daily, so tomorrow it might actually start selling off. But I wouldn't be surprised if they push it a little higher. We'll watch in the private group. So what is this? This is the dollar gold versus the Dow Jones. So the Dow Jones is in the background with the shaded blue. The green is the dollar, gold is the orange. You can see as the Dow goes down, gold goes up. And gold actually has been going up with the Dow too as well. And you know what? Can the Dow and the S&P and the stock market go into another bubble and make new all-time highs? Sure. And if it does, wouldn't surprise me. Venezuela's stock market's been outperforming all of them. And if it does do that, I'm completely fine with it. because I don't care. Like my mining stocks are going to go even higher. Um, and I wouldn't mind it because it would buy us maybe a few more years to prepare. But when that bubble pops, an even bigger one than the one today, and they reinflated it, man, is it going to be horrific. But damn, are we going to make some crazy gains, guys. We're make so much gains. I just hope we don't have... Actually, I don't care. Mad Max, bring it on. But what I'm trying to show you is back in 2008 and 9, this was... I just want to show you the correlation. This is the stock market. Dow Jones dropping. Gold's going into a bull market. We are pretty much right here compared to the last bull market that lasted a few years till 2012. Okay? Just so you know where we're at. Everyone who joined the private group and started accumulating 2 years ago, that was like over here. So we're sitting on massive gains, but this is just the beginning. But honestly, the mining sector has been lagging and not performing. Pretty much the mining sector is at $1,100 an ounce price gold, not at 1,754. That's where the price is today. And I showed you guys the GDX verse. The price of gold. The dollar, if you could look, this is what it did during that time. It actually was very weak. The DXY at least. And versus gold. So where's the dollar currently? It's very, very high. And it will fall eventually. And when the dollar falls, and maybe the stock market will go, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say. It might go up. It might go down. It doesn't matter. Because what will happen is... Jesus, I can't... Gold's going to the moon. Alright. So, look at this. Amazon's making new all-time highs. Apple is near all-time highs. Alphabet, a little bit weaker on the rebound, but still up there. JP Morgan, I mean, it had a nice dead cat bounce. Berkshire recovering, I don't know how, because I know they own a lot of airliners and home mortgages. I don't know, guys. It just doesn't make sense. It's all that funny money. Anyways, I don't want to make this too long of a video. Let's just take a look at gold. And silver. Silver rebounded almost to 16, no it did, $16.33. Its all-time low a few weeks ago was at $11.60, and I told you to buy that freaking dip. If you listen to me, good for you. This is just a 1 hour chart on gold. As you can see, today it made an all-time this year high, or 8-year high of $1,788. Now, what did I tell you guys? It was gonna break out, especially with that inverse head and shoulders. But this is what I'm looking at right now. Is there a pullback coming? Well, this is a weekly chart. It's on a 2 count out of 9 to the upside. It still has more upside on the weekly, much more for many weeks. Possible. Let's take a look at a 3-day. This is trend following, by the way. I start at the large time frame, move my way down. Here's the 5 count. The 5 count's always a dip, and then you get a 6, 7, 8, 9 to the upside. So in the 3-day, yeah, maybe a little bit of downside for the next 3 days. But everything looks good. It's not overextended just yet on the 3-day. Let's look at the daily. This is the problem. The daily's on a 9-count sell. And I provide you guys with all my indicators in the private group, just so you know. 1 to 4 candle pullback. I'm thinking 1700 will hold, but if it doesn't, then all the way back to 1684. But it might not even do that. So, well, what I'm saying is it might not even revisit 1700, but it could easily do that right now if on this sell off, on this 9-count sell off. It's also been a little overextended on the daily, actually very overextended. So a pullback right now, I'm expecting one, but it'll be a short-term dip, probably your last buying opportunity for some of these mining stocks, at the very last. I mean, some of them have already gone up a lot though. Like I've had 100% moves, more than 100% moves, and with some of them putting on call options, like on GDXJ, I mean, you made like 10x returns. All right. What am I doing? All right. So 12-hour chart. This is 6-hour. Never mind. I'm hoping the Ishimoku ramp here will act as a ramp. Here's the 4-hourly. The 4-hourly is giving me some blue candles, which are buying indicators, and it's already a bit overextended to the downside. The oscillators are on the 4-hourly, so maybe the dip won't even happen. Like, or this was the dip. The dip was from 1788 all the way down to 1757. I mean, that's a decent size pullback or dip, right? So this might even be it. I'm not sure. We'll see in the next few days, by the end of this week. Another correlation is the stock market, right? But I think they're gonna push it up a little bit higher, and then maybe next week we'll get a sell-off in the market. And this is the correlation I want to see. The stock market doesn't matter what the stock market does. What matters is what the mining stocks do. If the mining stocks rally on every pullback in gold, we saw that in 2008 and into 2011. That is your ultimate indicator that the bull market for mining stocks is in full-blown swing. And I haven't looked, but tomorrow we'll find out. Oh, here's platinum. I think that thing bottomed out. All right, here's GDXJ. Where's the other chart? All right. Gold is the orange. The price of gold, right? It says 17. It's on the left. 1760, 55, whatever. Last time the price was around then, the GDX was at like $60. GDXJ was at 152. Right now, GDX is at 30 and GDXJ is at $20. And these are your typical big ETFs. There's better ETFs than this, but that's for a private group. So what I want to see is when gold dips, So when the orange line falls, this doesn't look right. I have to keep it like this. When the orange line just does a little dip, these rally anyways. And we've seen that. I mean, they're very highly correlated, but we've seen that in the past. See what I'm saying? Like, right here, it dips, but it shoots up anyways. But, I mean, they've been fairly correlated. In correlation with one another. Either way, the green line and the blue line, which is the mining ETFs, need to catch up with the orange line, which is the price of gold. And silver hasn't even broken out. You know, there's some mining companies out there that mine gold and silver, both. Those I really like. And then even some platinum, which is extremely undervalued right now compared to gold and silver. So there's going to be some awesome moves coming very, very soon. That's pretty much it for now, guys. Smash some likes, leave anything in the comment section. Check out my website if you're interested in the private group. Should pay for itself. Can't make promises. The knowledge pays for itself. There was a book, right, that I read. I forgot who said this. I think it was Brian Tracy or the other one. The amount of money you spend on self-educating within like 2 years comes back double of your wages or the money you earn annually. Okay? So invest in yourself and learn something and join the private group. I know I have something. Oh, let me show you this. Almost forgot. I would have been mad if I would have forgotten this. Check this out. All right, where will the top be? I don't know for gold. And I'm hoping we don't. I really hope we don't get hyperinflation with the dollar, this and that. I think they'll peg it to gold before hyperinflation. So we'll just have crazy stagflation, something like in the 70s. Not for us, though, who are properly hedged against this event, right? But gold right now is the gold to the Dow Jones ratio. So back in the 1930s, Great Depression, it went to like 2.3 or less, the very bottom. In the 1979, 78, 80, Black Monday, that crash, it went to a 1-to-1 parity, pretty much. Where are we right now? We are at 13.6 parity, or ratio. Meaning the Dow Jones at some point will come very close to being worth 1 ounce of gold. So 1 ounce of gold could buy you 1 share of the Dow. So how expensive is the Dow right now? Let me find it. I could look at my other chart. I just want to show you guys a video. It's at pretty much at 24,000. So if you wanted to buy 1 Dow Jones, right, it would cost you 1 share. It would cost you $24,000. So if this is correct, I mean, this is what the gold bugs say, and we have historical charts to show us. This is correct. The Dow is going to fall at some point, but it'll go 1-to-1 parity. But this is just the ratio. I mean, the Dow could go to 50,000 and then gold goes to 50,000. It's possible, guys. This is just the ratio. It doesn't mean that the Dow fell, but it did back then. So let's say the Dow does crash and it goes to, let's say it gets cut by 70%. So where would that take us? See, some of the good stuff I leave to the end. So it always pays to watch my entire videos. Let's say it falls 70% from the all-time high grand total, right? That would equal a full-blown crash. Which I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just giving you guys some theory, some ideas, right? We're just brainstorming right now. That would take the Dow down to like pretty much like 9,000 or 8,800. And that's kind of where you could expect the price of 1 ounce to go. Now, think about this. The mining stocks are undervalued right now. They're valued at about pretty much $1,200 gold an ounce. And what if it goes to 8,000? What do you think the gains are going to be on these mining companies that survive? Which I think if they've made it this far, they should survive. Most of them, like 99%, something like that. What do you think the gains are going to be in percentage wise? Like wealth transfer, life changing stuff. All right, guys, and I'm going to leave you with that. Peace.